All right, well, I had the day off from work today, so I got out and decided to clean up my Holzfforma G372XP, which is a clone, of course, of a Husqvarna 372XP. I can't come up with a lot of bad things to say about this saw. I really like it, and I think I really got my money's worth in this thing. I've got about 4 cords of oak cut and split, stacked up, and I did it all with this saw. I mentioned before that one issue I had when I got this saw was it was hard to keep this thing tuned in. Turned out I think I had some trash in the carburetor, and I mentioned before that what I had done, this is of course another carburetor, but I completely disassembled the carburetor. So I took both the diaphragm meter and the pump and everything off, and I pulled the screws out, the high and low screw, got some cheap carburetor cleaner, sprayed all the passages, every passage that I could find, and also sprayed down through the high and low jets. And when I did that, when I was spraying through either the high or the low, I believe it was the low, it dislodged something. A chunk of something flew out. My guess was that was probably a piece of aluminum from the machining process. Since these saws do come from China, I highly doubt there's a lot of quality control going on, and that's probably why you read a lot of carburetor issues and other little minor issues with these saws. But that's, you get a cheap saw, so you're losing some of that quality, of course. And this saw costs about 1/3 as much as the real deal. Really, the only problems I've had so far, I did lose one of the screws off the muffler. Not a big deal. I don't know if that was Loctited or not. I'm not sure, but I did lose that. And then also, when I just disassembled this, these are not ports, by the way. These are just passageways to these retaining screws here. And this screw was loose also, but it had not come out. It was loose. This one was nice and tight. The other one was loose. I think I have a small oil leak. I haven't checked it that well, but when this saw sets now, I get a little bit of a drip of oil in this area. So I think it's leaking a little bit around the oiler. After setting for several days, I'll get a puddle that's maybe this big around, I don't know, 2-3 inches. So it's not serious at all. And from what I understand from the real Husqvarnas, that's kind of common with them. So again, not a big issue. I wanted to mention about the bars. I mentioned last time, and I thought these were pretty much equivalent to Oregon. I'm going to go back on that today. After using these, for this much cutting, they work great. But what I've noticed is, as you use a bar, you're going to eventually develop a little burr. Got one right there, just a little burr as that metal starts to fold over time as that chain runs down it so much. I think, to me, I usually buy just Oregon bars in the past, and to me, I think that burr forms a little faster than it does with Oregon. That's really the only gripe I have, and it's not that much faster. It's not that much noticeable. So based on the lower cost, I think I'm coming out ahead, or at least I don't feel like I'm being cheated on these bars. No problems with the sprockets, with the nose. I've had this. This is a 20, and I've also been using this 28. Again, no problem with the sprockets or anything on those, but it does seem like that burr forms a little faster, so the metal may be a little less high quality. Still getting a little bit of seepage around the gas cap. Not much though. What I'll notice is, as I fill this up and use it, I might have a little bit of, a drip of gas that comes down into this area. Doesn't drip out, doesn't flow or anything like that, but it leaks a little. Primarily on the gas tank. You can see there's kind of a little bit even on the oil right there. You can see a little, but I may just need to change out those. There are O-rings on these caps right around the top, so I may need to swap those out. No serious leaks like I've seen others or have read that others have had, so not a problem there. I don't see much wear at all inside the cylinder. I ran a camera down inside those. I'll be probably posting another video that shows that, what it looks like, both on the muffler side and inside the cylinder itself. Or I may try to edit and put that video in with this video. Depends on if I have time to do that or not. Haven't found any cracks in the plastic. I just inspected everything, and I was kind of expecting the plastic to see some breaking, you know, some fatigue from the lower quality plastic parts, but everything's held together well. I haven't had any problems at all with this recoil starter. All in all, like I said, very happy with this. I got this saw from bluesaws.com from Jess Ray. No complaints at all. I kind of don't like the full wrap handlebar. I added this thinking I would like this, but I had actually never had one of these before. But I don't know, it's a little bulky, so I'm not sure if I like it or not. I ended up having to cut my scrunch so that I could get to the nuts with that handle in the way. So that's something you might want to think about. This one's clear, but that one's not. If you're, you know, if you think about getting one of these handles, you'll have to either do what I've done or you know, get another wrench to get to that nut. And this is still working out. I mentioned that when I first got this saw, the chain tensioner was finicky. It's still a little finicky, but it does work itself in. And it's adequate. It's adequate for tightening up the chain. I don't like to get it really super tight. I don't really think you should get the chain super tight on that bar, just enough where it meets the bar, and then you know, that's usually good, and it will do that. It'll do that for you. No complaints there either. The clutch and everything, no problems there. I did have to get a second oiler from Jess. The first one, I'm not sure exactly what was going on with it, but it just was not putting out enough oil. It was kind of oiling sporadically. The second one's been great, no problems with it, and it does supply enough oil for this 28-inch bar. And by the way, the saw is plenty powerful for that 28-inch bar, fully buried in oak. I did buck up a 30, I believe it was a 39-inch diameter oak with that bar. So of course the bar, you know, wasn't long enough to get all the way through, so it was completely buried in the tree, and did marvelously, no problems at all. And I'm still using the same chains that I had. I'm resharpening those. Don't really have any complaints on those. Those seem to hold up pretty well either, or also. I'm not sure if this is going to be an issue or not, this coil wire. The insulation and the boot on this, it's hard to explain. It doesn't feel right. It feels cheap, but I don't know another way to explain it besides that. It's not as hard, I guess you could say, and it's much more flexible than I'm used to, so I just kind of feel like that rubber is kind of inferior, but I may be wrong, and I haven't had any problems with it. It's running fine, so that's just kind of something to point out. Still on the original filter, no problems there, and the saw doesn't really collect a lot of dust inside the air chamber here with the carburetor. I take this out periodically and just tap it off. It gets a little fine dust in there, but not bad. So I don't know, I guess that's my results so far. I'm really happy with it, and I think if you get one, you will be too. And by the way, this is completely stock. I haven't done anything, no porting or special mufflers or anything like that. It's completely stock. I was kind of considering maybe trying a different muffler, because this is the only exhaust outlet port, and I don't know, seems kind of small. These are not ports. These are, like I said, those are screw holes. This is the exhaust port, and so that's where all the gases are are venting out, and I've seen a lot of these that they're either dual port or much larger, and I don't know if it's worth swapping it out to see any advantage or not. I'm happy with it the way it is. So anyway, maybe that information can help somebody out if you're considering buying one of these. I would definitely buy it again. G372XP, Holzfforma. Get you one.